If you thought men were so horrible and such terrible creatures, why'd you get with one for a lifelong commitment?
That's what I also don't understand. A lot of these people that say I hate men are in a relationship with a man, or they want to get in a relationship with a man, but then they can't get into a relationship with one, so they just say I hate men and this is why I hate men. And then I'm like, but why are you still trying to get into a relationship with a man then? If it's that bad, do you really hate them? Or do you hate that you cannot get what you want? Hi YouTube, welcome back in hell. My name is Cypress and today we'll be watching Most Annoying People Gender Wars by Tommy NFG.
What a lovely morning. I couldn't have woken up in a more positive mood. Now let's see what positive discourse is being talked about online. Because everyone knows Twitter and TikTok are places where—
oh my god, those are the places where you can definitely find the most positive stuff.
cultural and respectful conversations.
Yes.
This is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think if you're in a serious relationship with a girl, she should not have an Instagram. That's cheating.
She should not have an Instagram. That is cheating. How do you come up with that shit? What?
If I ever get pregnant with a son, I'm returning it to the sender because I don't want to raise one.
I don't get that. If I ever get pregnant with a son, oh boy, it's gonna be an interesting video.
Divorce, I mean, that's not a real thing. That should be outlawed. You legally actually should not be able—
If I have to pick between being alone in the woods with a man or with a bear, I'm picking the bear. Every time.
Another day. Waking up every day and seeing grown men and women argue about this all the time will never not be annoying. It's like no matter what I do,
Exactly,
it
yes.
stumbles onto my social media feed somehow. Like a virus that can't be stopped with any drug, antidote, vaccine, or anything. And I'll first start off with the men's side of this whole gender war. One of the main reasons I can't take this gender war serious with the men's side of it was when I learned there was a hierarchy for men or some
There's a
alpha male,
oh yes,
sigma male,
yes.
beta male. Like my are you a getting male or a making money male? That's the only thing that matters. If you're one of these dudes that sits down and studies these breeds,
I don't understand that you want to be part of something that puts you in tiers, in ranks, like you're not equal.
of men, like you got a test the next day, you need help. Like you'll hear dudes say,
Man, there's no point in even being in a relationship really until you're alpha male material.
honestly, just claiming yourself as the alpha male is cringe as to me. And the funny thing is, there's so many different types of men a girl will go for anyways. And then they started adding medicine terminology to it. Red pill, blue pill, black pill. Like there is no way you navigate the world with an imaginary pill on your mind. A lot of these dudes in the gender war always argue that they want a more traditional relationship and all girls are hoes nowadays, so we're screwed. But you're acting like every girl is Ice Spice.
I have to say though, if you think every girl these days is a hoe, that's on you. That's a you problem. If every girl that you tried to get into a relationship with or that you had a relationship with in your eyes ended up being a hoe, isn't then you choosing the wrong girls to pursue? How does it make every girl a hoe? I think that's just a you problem. You apparently just really like hoes.
That's the only girls you run into, then you're probably the problem. And for the
Yeah.
whole traditional relationship, you know, stay-at-home wife who does the cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids, I have no problem with both sides agreeing that's how they run the relationship. But my if you're saying this and working at a goddamn Walmart or McDonald's, you are not included in this conversation. Like 99% of relationships cannot work like this in modern times. Families can barely even afford to live together with their salaries combined.
Yes.
So if you're going into a relationship with this mindset and can't provide, your whole brain gotta be rewired. If y'all are working the same hours of a grueling 9 to 5, you can't expect all the chores to be put on her.
I find it also so ridiculous. Sometimes I see women like saying this exact same thing on the internet. Like, listen, I don't have a problem being a housewife, but if I have to work the same amount of hours as you every day, we both have to go to work, then how are you expecting me to be a housewife? I'm not gonna do all of the housewife work if we are both gonna go work 8-9 hours a day, and then I come home tired, and you also come home tired, and then you expect me to do all of the work, all of the housework alone. And then you see guys in the comments being mad about it, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, you guys make no sense. You guys make no sense.
I feel like it's less manly if you don't know how to do simple chores like cooking and cleaning. I genuinely wonder how y'all have survived all this time without learning these basic life skills? These are the first things my parents started teaching me as a general life skill to survive.
That is true. My parents taught that my brothers as well.
You know, some shit you could use if you're in the jungle and have to survive for your life. I feel like y'all really only complain about this because you saw it on Fresh and Fit or something. And that's another reason I can't take this gender war serious with men is all these goofy podcast clips I be seeing. Like, I'll see some points that are valid and be like, okay. Then the next clip after will be like, and fellas.
I feel like it's always like that. Sometimes they have like stuff that sounds reasonable, that actually sound okay, but I guess that's how you get people. You say some stuff that makes sense, and then you got them, and then you start to say stuff that doesn't make sense, but people are already like, you know, they're already into it, so they're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, do you know what I mean?
That's why we have to ban women's rights. What the f are you talking about, bro? Where did this shift come from? That was the main way Andrew Tate was getting big. Yo, Andrew Tate in the big 2024 is crazy. I can never take these podcast dudes seriously when they've never been in a stable relationship in their life. You'd have a better chance getting hit by lightning than finding these dudes in a happy marriage. About 99% of women are gonna see what they say online and bolt out of there immediately. Looking up to these podcast dudes for Riz advice is the most cringiest thing of all time.
It is, but I can also kind of see how that happened. At least I think. I'm not really sure, but when you don't have any good role model in your life, you're gonna look for them online or anywhere where you can find them, right? And then these podcast bros are abusing that shit. In a time where men's mental health is like declining, they are there, quote unquote, helping men.
Because really think to yourself, did anyone, whether it was your dad, uncle, or older family member, ever look up some advice from Fresh and Fit before marrying and having a kid? They just went with the flow, bruh. They didn't have a whole football layout to it. Also, dudes will complain about all these women posting their standards online, but y'all low-key be the same way. Maybe not as crazy as the X trend. I'm glad that trend's dead.
Not as crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know. I have seen some stuff on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Yes, they might not have an ick list, but they do say some crazy shit.
You want the IG looking model who can take care of the kids and cook while also making 6 figs a year. Meanwhile, you out here built like Peter Griffin working the Target register. Knowing your playing field is the most important thing as a man. Not everyone can be in the D1 league. Some of y'all gotta stay in tranny wheels. Like, if you don't got a chance, bro, being in her comment section putting heart eyes is not gonna woo her. That's a one-way ticket to the block list. The amount of down bad dudes I'll see in even a regular girl's comment section is concerning. You can like the page all you want, stalk the page all you want, but being in the comments is a different level of sad. Now let's move on to the women's side of it. One of the main reasons the women's side of it annoys me so much is how acceptable it is to just on men. There could be no types of criticism made, no types of points made. A girl could just post a TikTok saying, I hate all men, and the whole comment section is erupting like a soccer stadium after a goal.
It is crazy the amount of times that I see that.
Pay 10 Dunkin' Donuts to have more glaze than those comment sections. I'll never forget online when hashtag kill all men was trending.
Oh my God.
How does this resolve anything? You think a dude that's a chronic misogynist is gonna see this and go, you know what? My ways were wrong.
If only life was that simple.
The way I think how all women are disgusting, the way I was angry all the time about it, from this day forth, I'm a new man! And then if you call out them being misandrous, they go ahead and reply with, obviously not all men.
It's like so stupid. What do you mean, obviously not all men, when you literally said all men? Like, come on.
Literally, if you were offended, then you must be one of them. Then change the message name.
Exactly. Why do you say kill all men then? Like, oh.
I don't even understand the logistics of biologically hating a whole gender. Like, first off, without that gender, you wouldn't have been splooged into existence. And that gender gave you basically everything you used to make that post. The Wi-Fi you use, the internet you're using, the phone you use, the app you use to post it. I could never go online and just type out I hate all women, because that would be disrespectful to all the good women in my life. I'll see girls in
That's exactly what I'm thinking too. You say kill all men. I don't know what your relationship is with your parents or your siblings if you have those, but you cannot tell me that all men that you've met growing up and in your adulthood were all bad people. You cannot tell me that it is that way. Like, those few that you do know, don't you feel like you're disrespecting them? Don't you feel like you're hurting them by saying stuff like that to those few men in your life, or like however much it is, that are actually good good people to you? How can you say stuff like that?
Happy relationships, it, even happy marriages. And they in comment sections typing out how horrible men are. If you thought men were so horrible and such terrible creatures, why'd you get with one for a lifelong commitment?
That's what I also don't understand. A lot of these people that say I hate men are in a relationship with a man, or they want to get in a relationship with a man, but then they can't get into a relationship with one, so they just say I hate men and this is why I hate men. And then I'm like, but why are you still trying to get into a relationship with a man then? If it's that bad, do you really hate them? Or do you hate that you cannot get what you want?
Excuse for all of them is, it's not the men they're friends and family with, it's just every other man after that. Does your family and friends just got a special gene or something different from every other man?
I don't get it, like, yeah, it's not your family, but don't you think it's like hurtful to say that while you have men in your family? Like, how would they feel when they see you, like, how hateful you are towards men? They're still men, though. They are still men.
In the gender war, argue that they can't find a good man and men used to be better back then.
Same thing as what I said on the men's side when they're like, oh, all women are hoes. If you can't find any good men, don't you think the problem lies with you that you cannot find a good man? Isn't the problem that you're probably attracted to, or like you're actively pursuing only men that are not good? You should be looking, men and women both that say shit like this. You should be taking a good deep look at yourself. Okay, please stop blaming stuff on other people. Look at yourself.
Gotta be the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Men have been adapting better and better with each generation. For every new generation, they've been understanding the ways of how a relationship should run. Even in marriages, more guys would do something like getting couples therapy than the past. Ask a man married in the 60s if he'd do that, and he'll spit at you for even assuming he would do it. Like, if you want to go back to the 60s so they can sing you love songs, then beat you when you burn the lasagna, go ahead. If you're saying this also while having 50 things listed on what you need in a man, just go ahead and hang the white flag up, bruh. Maybe that mystical man will appear in your dreams or a superhero movie one day, but he ain't real. Then you got girls saying they won't settle for a man nowadays unless he hits the 6 figures. A girl
Yeah,
will just
that's
turn
also
18
like
and
fucking bullshit.
immediately suspected because some girl said it on TikTok. The percentage of dudes making this while young is in the 0.1 percentile, and who says those dudes even want you? How would you even search for a
Exactly.
specific man like this? Do you have a GPS leaning to him? The average salary in the US is $63K per year, and you think a dude who just came out of high school or college is gonna have that? And a lot of the
Well, I guess they're just gonna be single for life then.
words used are genuinely just toxic. Use them as a wallet, sis.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you need those 6 figures for? Why do you need that? Why is it the only requirement?
So it's all men. They can vanish into existence, but when you need some money because you're too lazy to work, that's when they're cool. Also, girls in the gender war will come up with the stupidest arguments I've ever seen. Like, there's this whole trend on TikTok of asking women who would they rather be in a forest with. A man versus a bear. The logical response, of course, is a man, because a bear would tear you from limb to limb. But in almost every comment section, you see a slew of women replying with, well, a bear, of course. I mean, the bear wouldn't chase me down the street at midnight. The bear wouldn't try to snatch me and throw me in a van unwillingly. Apparently, to all these girls, every man is Griffith or Epstein. Like, is there not a single good man in your life, family, or friends, something? Who are y'all running into on a daily basis? It must be absolute villains.
I can kind of understand as a woman why they choose the bear though instead of the men. Of course, before anyone in the comments is gonna attack me, I do not believe that every man is a threat, okay? I do not believe that. I as a woman am just trying to explain where this might be coming from, and I personally feel like it's because of the violence that you see a lot that happens to women by men in isolated situations from either strangers or men that they actually know and thought they would be safe with, but then ended up that it's not the case. We see a lot of stuff like that on TV, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter. You keep seeing it over and over and over again in this day and age because of the internet. And then also, of course, there are women that choose the bear over that actually have experienced stuff like that in their lives. I feel like it has to do with like knowing what to expect because of what I just said. Like, you see a lot of this stuff happening now in the world, and some of these women have probably also experienced it IRL. So they would rather choose a bear that they can kind of predict. Of course, maybe not. Maybe they're overestimating themselves, but I feel like that's what they think in their mind. I feel like they're overestimating themselves, but that's what I think that they're thinking. They can at least predict what the bear is gonna do. And I think some men are like getting upset about the fact that they're choosing a bear over a man, while in their head, a bear is definitely going to kill you. Would you rather get killed by a bear than being with me, someone who doesn't do shit like that? You know, I can get where that comes from, because like then it feels like you're saying that I feel like men are thinking that you're saying every man's gonna be like that. So even they, you know, the person that gets mad about it, they feel like you're saying that about them, while they are not like that at all. So they feel upset about that.
I know this because I'll get mad at seeing this dumb shit, then realize like 5 seconds after these women are not real people. They just exist in the digital landscape. And a lot of times I notice that anytime a girl does step up and say they disagree, they immediately get called a pick me and sent to
That I find stupid too. Just because you have a different opinion than the rest of the people, then the rest of the girls are suddenly a pick me. And I'm like, guys, where the f is your brain?
So it's either you glaze with all the other girls or you're shunned into purgatory. So overall,
Yeah, it's
the
dumb
whole
as fuck.
gender war thing online is the most corniest of all time to me. Y'all can argue all y'all want, but y'all are the exact same people.
Exactly.
You would have.
That's what I've been saying. You're just the same kind of people. You both make me mad. You both make me want to slap you in the face.
I think this argument would have ended after like elementary school and girls and boys thought each other had cooties. But I'm glad to know we haven't changed as a society. Amazing progress. I feel like the best way to combat this is anytime you see a post of one of these things, just put not interested in the post or ignore it, because you know you're gonna be mad when you see it. Or go into it thinking these people.
Every so often I have to clean my Twitter timeline. I keep seeing gender war stuff and I keep getting mad every time, and then I'm like, whoa, Cypress, it's time to clean again, because why are you on this side of Twitter again?
Don't exist in real life. I hate to see people in real life end up with these chronically online takes, because, you know, it just shows that this virus is spreading. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I love you guys consensually. And until next time, I'm out.
Bye! Bye! Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please don't forget to give a like to the video and subscribe to my channel. I also stream live on Twitch and on YouTube, so follow me on Twitch or just turn on the notification bell on YouTube to know when I go live. I hope to see you there. Bye!